President Obama has presented his nominee for Treasury Secretary, and as expected, we've been given another Wall Street shill. Not only is this one slap in the face to progressives, but they could have a huge impact on fiscal policy for all Americans. Joining me now to talk about the president's nominee is Peter Mougey. Peter, Antonio Wise, just another one of the people you would expect Obama to pick. I mean, with Summers and Geithner and, the whole Robert Rubin crowd. Weiss is just an extension. What a terrible choice for this job. Talk about it. Lay out this story for us. It's another ugly story.
It really is an ugly story. And you start to wonder, when is he ever going to figure this out? Wall Street on our top police force, whether it be the Treasury, the SEC, it doesn't matter. The regulators that are supposed to be there protecting Main Street, we're filling up those positions across the board with Wall Street bankers. It's called a revolving door, Pap. So essentially you're taking key Wall Street guys, putting them in regulatory police type positions that are supposed to create jobs, protect consumers. They work in the government for a few years, and then they come back to the Wall Street jobs, and that revolving door ends up protecting Wall Street because nobody's going to enforce the rules and regs against Wall Street, against the place where they want to end up with the big payday.
Okay, let me lay this out just a little bit as I see it. Now, here you have Antonio Wise that he works for a company called Lazard, L-A-Z-A-R-D.
Yes, Lazard.
Now, this is a company that came up with how companies such as Burger King could go out and basically declare that they're not an American corporation, that they're a foreign corporation, and not paid taxes. Now, what's important about that is Antonio Wise, the guy who Obama wants to run the Treasury. Antonio Wise is the guy they want to make decisions about the direction of this country's money and economy. Now, did I get that right? Did Antonio Wise, is he the guy who came up with this inversion kind of idea?
It's called the reversion concept, where you take the headquarters, and you're exactly right. At Burger King, you take the nominal headquarters, meaning you get some office in a strip mall in a foreign company. You hardly staff it. That allows the company to avoid paying taxes because they're a foreign company with a foreign headquarters. Although the headquarters is just some nominal shell sitting in some strip mall somewhere that's not staffed, it's not really their headquarters, and it allows them to pay a lower tax rate. This is his brainchild. This is the guy we're putting in to help police and enforce Dodd-Frank and ensure that the Main Street consumers are being protected. The same guy that's pilfering money and diverting it out of our corporate tax coffers back into
and
back
this
into
is the
Wall
guy
Street
who
and big
Obama
business.
says, yeah, this is who I want running that. It gives you an idea of how ugly things have gotten. There's more. The other part of this story I think is remarkable. Lazard is paying Antonio Wise $20 million to leave the company. Now, why would they possibly pay Antonio Wise when he's leaving the company to take a government job? I mean, do we really have to be rocket science to figure that out?
As he's walking out the door, they're handing him a compensation package worth $21 million. It is nothing more than a dressed up payment to a government official saying, don't forget us when you're there. Don't forget us when you're enforcing the rules on Dodd-Frank, that $21 million. We expect Weiss to objectively enforce the rules against people like his former employer when he took $21 million on the way out the door. How in the world, Pap, can that be legal? It's blatant, and it's right in your face, and it happens all the time. This isn't just some new concept that Weiss is getting paid. Bank of America did the same thing with a $9 million pop with one of its key officials that went to some nominal role in the regulatory agency. It's all about expecting favorable treatment when you get to the regulatory position, and then they come back and make even more money.
Peter,
it's
is
Wall
there
Street
any
shills in police positions. That's all it is.
Is it really even reasonable to believe that this president, Obama, who has done this time and time again for Wall Street, basically he's working for Wall Street, is it even believable to even suggest that this president doesn't know exactly what he's doing when he allows this type of thing to go on? I mean, you would have to be born under a damn mushroom not to understand the impact of this, wouldn't you?
Of course. I mean, keep in mind, Weiss was a bundler for the Obama administration with key campaign contributions. So this is a guy. There you go again. Campaign contributions, quid pro quo later for a good regulatory job. But yeah, there's no way he doesn't know. Pap, I'm telling you, it's fairly simple. Put several well-financed trial lawyers, former trial lawyers, securities lawyers in these positions and let them enforce the rules, and you don't have these problems. Instead, we're taking Wall Street bankers and letting them enforce our country's securities rules and regulations. It doesn't work.
We used to say that there was something that was called, as you called it, revolving doors or agency capture. This is actually agency purchase. Because as you talked about, like Bank America just there and Wise, what the corporations are doing, what Wall Street's doing, is they are buying the agency. And, of course, we've seen that. We saw it with Tom Wheeler with the FCC. Tom Wheeler, of course, comes from the FCC, and then he's put in the position of running the FCC and doing everything that industry wants. He was purchased the same way. We see it with the EPA purchase, isn't it?
You're exactly right. And it didn't used to be so in your face. These payments weren't just so overt. They just weren't so quite blatant. It's getting bigger and bigger and more of a problem. It used to be, well, we'll give you a job when you get back. These payments out the door, I mean, they're nothing. It's fraud. I mean, they're buying government officials on the way out the door. There's no other label you can put on it.
Yeah, I mean, you give Wise $20 million, he's going to take your call, whereas you or I might call him and say, you know what, Mr. Wise, there is fraud and theft going on. Would you help us? That's different from you calling him or me calling him and the guy who handed him $20 million calling him.
And I know they're expecting one hell of a lot more than picking up the phone or when you call. They're expecting favorable treatment, not if they get into trouble, but when they get into trouble. They're expecting Wall Street get favorable treatment at the expense of consumers.
Peter, in about 30 seconds, the Democrats are this is their thing, just like it is the Republicans. Now we got Hillary Clinton running. Hillary is very much a part of that same established Wall Street establishment, isn't she?
Bill Clinton, he brought in one of the Goldman Sachs, the bigwigs from Goldman Sachs during his era. This is the same establishment. It's all about dollars. It's all about funding for campaigns. They're all intertwined between the campaign financing, the revolving doors. This is an I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine later on. Pap, this has got to be broken. We already had one major disruption, almost melted down the entire economy. It's not a matter of when we get the next one.
It's going to happen again.
It's going to happen.
Peter Mougey, thank you for joining me, okay?
Thank you.